Okay, what I've got here is the Model 350 airbrush by Badger. Single action airbrush. What you get is an air hose, you get an adapter for a spray can, rather an air can, and you get the airbrush obviously, and you get a paint jar. So I'll just show you exactly what we get in the box. Also in this plastic pack here you get instructions on how to use the airbrush, and also a guide in the back, simple maintenance and component parts in case you need any spares. So that's all very concise and self-explanatory. So I'll just take you through now what you get in the set. Okay, here's the Badger 350. As I said, it's a single action airbrush. It's got to be hands down the simplest airbrush I've ever seen, and it's the lightest. It's definitely the lightest. Obviously your air source goes here, straight down for paint and air, and your jar actually sits in here. So the way it works is air goes through the head, which draws paint up through the jar. Now I'll show you in a minute how to adjust this, but I'll just show you what else you get in the set. Okay, you've got the paint jar. I really like these plastic attachments here actually, because they don't damage the inside of the airbrush at all, and they're they're solvent resistant, and they're very robust. So that's the jar you get. Here's the air can adapter. You can get cans of air. You just place this on the top of you screw this onto the top of the can, and then obviously your airline goes here, and this is your regulator for your pressure. Of course, it's up to you how what you attach your airbrush to. This is the air hose you get. You'll obviously want, if you're going to attach this to a compressor, you'll obviously want to get a different air hose, because these are two Badger fittings. This is specifically really for the air canister. So that's what you get. You also get this wrench, which allows you to set up the paint flow, and I'll show you that in a minute. So basically that's what you get in the set. Okay, this particular 350 has actually got the medium head. You can get a fine, medium and a heavy head on it, depending on what sort of projects you're going to be painting and what paints you intend to use. This is solvent resistant, so you can put anything through it you want. It's got a very light ABS type body. As I said, it is incredibly light. So what I'll do is I'll show you how to actually adjust the volume of paint going through it. It's not sort of the same design as double action, so it's quite interesting how you change it, but it's very simple. Okay, this is the business end of the airbrush. I don't know if you can see it, but you can actually see the needle protruding through the end there. It's actually sticking through this, not through, as you would normally think, through the body of the brush. It's actually in here. Now to adjust the paint flow, you adjust this cone up or down. Taking it all the way up will actually give you a larger hole in the nozzle. There's not so much of the needle protruding through, so you're actually going to get more paint going through, obviously. Now to minimise that, you turn this down again, and you'll probably see more of the needle sticking through the end. More of the needle sticking through the end means it's closing off the hole in the nozzle, which obviously means less paint. So that's actually how you adjust the paint flow. Very, very simple. There's absolutely nothing to go wrong with this at all. Okay, what I'll do next is I'll show you how to take this out, and we'll just have a look inside it. Okay, as I said, you do actually get a wrench with this, which is for the back end here. Once you've undone that, I don't know really if you need the wrench anymore actually. This collar here, you can see I'm just turning that collar. That actually locks this assembly into the body. So what you want to do to take this assembly out, should you ever need to, you basically At the same time as winding out of the body here, you just want to keep winding this nozzle out as well. As you can see, it's coming out. Okay, that's come off the thread now, and that's basically ready to pull straight out of the body. Once we've done unlock that collar there. Okay, here we go. And that's it. That's your needle. That's a very fine thread on there actually. That's so you can get pretty good adjustment on the for the paint flow. And there's your nozzle. Probably the biggest nozzle you've ever seen in your life. That's just down to the design of the actual airbrush itself. It has to be that big. As you can see, very robust. Like I said, nothing to go wrong with this at all. And that's your locking down collar there. Now if you do want to go any further than this, you can just take that off there. That's got another fine thread on it, and it just sits against the O-ring there. So that now is as far as you'd want to go. I'm not going to take the trigger out. There's absolutely no need to. There's nothing going on in there. It's just basically a spring plunger. So that's all stripped down. Now just to put it back together again, basically screw that back on. Now, as you can see, there's a cutout in the head there. Make sure you get that lined up at the bottom, because that's where the nozzle's going to go through when you've assembled that. So let's just put this. What we'll do is we'll just put the nozzle in here, hold it in place, get the collar as well. Okay. Now I'm going to put the needle through there, just push the assembly through the body. Let's just make sure that we get the get this collar lined up with the thread. There we are. Just make sure you get everything lined up before you start to actually screwing anything. You don't want anything getting damaged up here, so I'm just going to hold the bottom in place. Okay, I've now locked that collar up there. So I don't really think you need the wrench after the initial strip down, and that's it. It's all set up now to adjust as you wish, whatever paint you want to use or whatever project you're on. So that's the setup. Now the jar you get simply sits in the bottom there, and that is it. Down for paint and air at the same time. That's your Badger 350. I'll just tell you a little bit about what I think this airbrush should be good for. Because it's incredibly light and robust, there's absolutely nothing to go wrong with it. I think this would be a really reliable brush for special effects makeup, model making where you're spraying the larger areas, background spraying, murals possibly. This could be a good accompaniment as well to double action airbrush for anybody doing fine art. You could use this as for stippling the backgrounds or anything like that really. It won't break the bank, and it's just a great airbrush for somebody that's really that doesn't really want to have to use a double action, because you just get it out of the box, attach it to your air source, and off you go. So that's the Badger 350.